I want to talk to you for a second about what the IRS is or isn't collecting in taxes. Um, Everyone's talking about a lot of other things: this oil disaster, the euro dying, the European Union itself is in about to collapse. Um, People are running to U.S. bonds now all of a sudden because of the instability over in Europe, which is nonsense anyways. They're not going to be running to our bonds for long when our country's next. But anyways, the IRS. I remember in 2008, I read it was actually 2009, I believe, because they were talking about how little the IRS collected in 2008, and I think the report said something like it was around 32% less taxes collected than normal, both in business taxes being collected and individual taxes being collected. And that was for the fiscal year of 2008. So now that 2009's already come and gone, it'd be nice to know what the data is. How did 2009 fare? Because we're on a path to recovery, right? Green shoots are right around the corner, even though everything's pretty much in the red right now. So if there's a little sign of recovery, then certainly the revenue in the IRS that they collect should show that. So let's take a look at some numbers I just got off their website, the IRS's website. And we're going to look at 2007 net collections from corporate income tax. And this says these numbers are in thousands. So this is a million, which means times 1,000 is actually going to be in the billions. But it says 368 point whatever million, meaning, again, billions. So they collected 368 billion. Percentage for 2008, it was 15% of the total collected from all these different sources, which is estate and gift taxes, excise taxes, employment taxes, individual income tax, etc. So $368 billion. That was 2007. Now let's take a look at 2008. And it's down. It was 368 or 86 billion, whatever. It's now 300 billion. So it's come down. That was 08. Now the interesting thing is the article, and the IRS said it. I have the article saved somewhere too, that they collected 32% less. Well, from 2007 to 2008, this isn't quite 32% as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't seem to add up. But anyways, nonetheless, it's going down. So let's look at 2009. And here we have 2009. 130 billion. Yeah. 6.8% total collected. Okay? Let's run by that again real quick. 2007, 368 billion. 2008, 300 billion. In 2009, 130 billion. Does that sound like a goddamn recovery to you? 130 billion collected in taxes for 09, when just the year before, which was 300 billion. 130 billion. 130 times 2 is 260 billion. This is less than half. Or actually, in this case, it's more than half of a loss compared to last year. If it was 150 billion, it would be half. This is 130 billion. That's terrible. There's got to be recovery. And we have all this ridiculous spending, the trillions of dollars given out, TARP funds, this fund, that fund, given all these countries like Israel, billions every year, IMF, billions every year. And this is 09. We've already started 2010. Obviously, we can't look at the data until next year. But this is what I call data that you cannot argue with. This is not some bozo on TV saying, well, the Dow was up today, and it looks like there's a slight recovery in action here, and I wonder if we can carry through with this for the next few months because experts are saying that it looks like it is. Really? Well, my magic 8-ball just said, you humans are fact. How's that for breaking news? How's $130 billion for breaking news? You could have all the hope and faith and good talk and happy talk and feel good nonsense in your mind that's going to keep you all, happy. But this, at the end of the day, is the telltale sign that nobody wants to talk about. None of the mainstream media is talking about this, and as a matter of fact, for the most part, even the websites I visit, which talk all about this stuff, aren't reporting on this. Maybe they haven't known that the data is out now. And I think I'm going to post this on a few websites. But that damn number is frightening. 130 billion. Down from 300 billion the year before, down from 368 billion the year before that, which was '07. Man. And they're going to talk about recovery. And we've got this massive oil disaster in the Gulf. Are you kidding me? The euro's finished. The European Union will crumble because of that too. The pound, it doesn't matter. They're done too. They're going to run to the United States. Oh, we got to go over there and invest in their bonds. Don't let that nonsense fool you either. They had one good time so far recently of good bond sales because of the shaky grounds over in Europe. That ain't nothing. We've done the same thing. And as a matter of fact, we did it first. And another thing I want to talk about is, we talk about that. Oh, the dollar is strong. The dollar is up to 85, 86 dollar index. Was in the low 70s last year. That Dow crashed down to 7,000 and all that, and the dollar went down too, and it was in the low 70s. Well, we're back up in the mid 80s. Good times just around the corner. And I'm thinking, how could the dollar actually be gaining? And then I realized, well, how do they? What do they look at when they look at a dollar index, the U.S. dollar index? It's compared to the euro, and maybe the pound, I think too. I'm not sure, but definitely the euro. So the euro is crashing. It's sinking like faster than the Titanic. And so is our dollar at the same time. This is the dirty secret. They're both going down at the same time. Our U.S. dollar and the euro. The euro is just going down at a faster rate. Therefore, the illusion is that the U.S. dollar is actually going up. Because it was in the low 80s when this whole thing started. Now it's in the upper mid 80s. 85, 86, whatever, dollar index. If you have two ships sinking side by side and they're the same size, and one guy looks over to the other ship and says, hey, their deck's down further than ours, that ship over there is sinking, but ours isn't. Our ship's fine. And then the only, conspiracy theorist decides, well, let me just look over the edge of our boat, and looks down. Oh, shit. Our ship's sinking too, almost just as fast as their ship's sinking, and they're not even going to be able to man the lifeboats in time. I think I'm going to get in the lifeboats here. That's basically a little analogy, but that's what is happening. Two ships are sinking. The euro ship is sinking faster than the United States dollar ship, so to speak. So it appears that the U.S. dollar ship is actually rising in value. So hey, bring all your friends over here, get the U.S. bonds, while that market over there is a little untrustworthy at the time, and everything's safe. Oh, and by the way, while you're buying our bonds, this dumbass named Joe that posts on YouTube here wants you to see something. $130 billion collected last year, which is, as far as I'm concerned, record-breaking terribleness of tax revenues. When we have all this incredible TARP funds and this fund and healthcare all these things, this does not end good. This does not end good for humans, period. I don't care what country you're in, as a matter of fact. And so many people have told me, well, why don't you just leave the country if you're so upset with things here? I've thought about it and thought, well, where else could I go and not have to deal with this? You can't go anywhere. And for one, this is the country I grew up in. This is the country I was told was the greatest, the freest, the, most profitable, best lifestyle, American dream, blah, blah, blah. Only to find out that everything we've been told is a goddamn lie. My whole history I thought of winning wars and freeing country, it's all a lie. Everything's a lie. But this data here, this data isn't a lie. Take a good look at that number, because we are screwed.